What's going on, everybody? It's Key Time coming back with another one as I like to do throughout the week. We have a lot of stuff to get into today. The Dallas Mavericks went into Minnesota and won game one last night, plus game two of the Eastern Conference Finals, which is tonight, and also the head coaching search that has generated the most news. But first off, what I want to get into is the Dallas Mavericks and Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, this game, I said that it would be nipped and tucked, and both of these teams are in the same boat. But from what I looked at last night, Minnesota didn't have an answer for Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving. Now, if game one is any resemblance of this series, who knows? Dallas, they might beat Minnesota in this series. The only reason why I said that Minnesota would beat Dallas is because Minnesota, they have the better defense, but you only have the better defense when you are able to neutralize the best players on the other team, and Minnesota, they failed to do that last night. I mean, you could just you don't even have to look at the stats, but I'm going to tell y'all the stats anyway. Luka Doncic had 33 points and 7 assists. Kyrie Irving had 30 points and 4 assists. Now, also, we already know that Kyrie Irving, I said coming into this series, he would have to be in attack mode. It was like that last night. He was in attack mode, and then he got his other teammates involved. Daniel Guilford had 10 points. PJ Washington had a couple of threes, and he had 13 points. Also, Derek Levy II, he had 9 points. So what am I saying? I'm saying is this. If Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are able to be facilitators and still get 30 plus points in every game, the Dallas Mavericks, they gonna go to the NBA Finals. But it's up to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I'm gonna get into the Minnesota Timberwolves here in a minute. But as far as Dallas, you have the right formula. Kyrie Irving, he's a facilitator. The first quarter, he's a facilitator trying to get his teammates involved. And if he gets his teammates involved and they are making shots at a consistent enough rate in this series, and on top of that, with him getting his 25 to 30 a game, Dallas Mavericks, they'll win this series with no problem. But one thing, when it comes to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I expect for maybe, and I do mean maybe, Jaden McDaniels to be on Kyrie to save Anthony Edwards the minutes that he is going to have to play later on in the game. So maybe they may need to switch it up and have Jaden McDaniels on Kyrie and have Rudy Gobert on Luka Doncic. Now, as far as Anthony Edwards, he had an okay game last night. I mean, he had 19 points and 8 assists. So also Jaden McDaniels, he came off the bench, had 24 points and 3 assists. Now, like I've been saying, Jaden McDaniels is the X factor. Jaden McDaniels is one of my X factors for this series for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, there is one thing that I did see, a glaring issue that could be coming in this series. Now, as far as Mike Conley Jr., I'm not going to get into his points, even though he only had 6 and he had 3 assists. But Mike Conley Jr., Coach Finch, he might have to reduce his minutes, because with Mike Conley Jr. out there, I'm going to tell you, Mike Conley Jr., he's 38 years old. Now, he is not able to have enough gas in the tank for if he plays 35, 40 minutes. Last night, he played 31 minutes, and you saw how much gas he had left in the tank. So as far as Coach Finch, he might need to switch his schemes up and switch his lineup for game two, because if you go into the same lineup with if you go into game two with this same lineup, Dallas is gonna win again. So that's all I have for that series. Now, back to the Eastern Conference Finals. Game two is tonight. Indiana Pacers, Boston Celtics. And there are a few people saying that is game two a must win for the Indiana Pacers. No, it is not. And I'm going to tell you why it's not. Because does anybody remember last series? Indiana went down 2-0, came back home, won game 3 and 4 at home. Throughout the season, the Indiana Pacers, they have protected home court. So even if they do go down 2-0, which they very well can tonight, America, the Indiana Pacers can go down 2-0 and still come back and win this series, just like they did against the New York Knicks. But from one thing, they need coming down the stretch, and this is I'm going to speak to Rick Carlisle, head coach of the Indiana Pacers. Rick Carlisle, you have got to come up with better plays in the last 2 or 3 minutes in the fourth quarter, because what you did in game one, you ain't going to be able to get away with that tonight or any other game in this series. So the Indiana Pacers, we could just everybody in this series, you can just scratch defense out of it, because these two teams, they don't play defense. So throw that word defense out the window when you talk about this series. It has came down to a 3-man show on both sides. Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, and Miles Turner for the Indiana Pacers. Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White. Derek White, he is one of the X factors for this series. So now, can the Indiana Pacers bounce back and win game two? Who knows? But we all know what the Boston Celtics game plan is. It's shoot as many threes as you can and make as many threes as you can. Now, as far as the last game, they gave up 60 points in the paint. Interior defense has been a struggle for them. Interior defense has been a struggle for the Pacers. That is why I'm saying throw the word defense out of this series. It's about who can make the most threes and it's about who can make the most shots in this series. That's all it is. Because Rick Carlisle don't emphasize defense. Joe Mazzulla don't emphasize defense. It's about them players that's on the court. Whoever can defend better than the other for a few more minutes will win this series, because if you got to hang your head on defense, this is not the series. Now, as far as I believe Boston will win game two, but I think after game 4, this series will be even. I do not see this series being a sweep at all. So, Eastern Conference game 2 tonight, 8 o'clock. We'll be waiting. It's gonna be another good game. So that's all I got for this series. The last thing I want to talk about before I go is the coaching search for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, there are three candidates that they are interested in: JJ Redick, James Brago, and Sam Cassell. Now, Sam Cassell, he's a good player. He was able to win a championship for the Boston Celtics, but it's like he has been part of coaching staffs over the years, but he has never been in a head coaching role. Now, he's won 2 championships with the Houston Rockets back in the 1990s, if y'all can remember that far. And also, he has won a championship with the Celtics in 2008. So he is a decent coaching hire. Me, if I was Genie Bus, I wouldn't hire him. James Brago, he's a decent coach. He's hung his head on being a assistant coach. But the one person that I keep hearing is JJ Redick. Now, this, if they hire JJ Redick, it will be more of a promotion for the podcast Mind the Game than it is being the head coach. So I'ma just tell y'all, JJ Redick's history. He's a high school basketball coach already. So he's a high school basketball coach. He coaches his son's basketball team. He was a player for the 76ers, New Orleans Pelicans, and Orlando Magic. I mean, he's a three-point specialist. We all know that. He only took one dunk throughout his career. But there are much better head coaching candidates out there than JJ Redick. So I'm not in the meetings. I'm just a spectator, and I'm just a fan at the end of the day. But if I'm Jeannie Buss, Jerry Buss, Linda Rambis, Joe Mazzulla, but excuse me, no, not Joe Mazzulla. But if I'm Linda Rambis, Kurt Rambis, Jeannie Buss, and all those other Lakers owners, I'm really taken aback by JJ Redick is the leading candidate for the Lakers job. And reportedly, LeBron James, he is nowhere in those head coaching candidate meetings. Now, do I believe that? Hell no. You trying to keep LeBron happy. And if I'm the Lakers, I'm going to do anything to keep LeBron happy. So that bull crap that I heard about LeBron not being in them head coaching candidate meetings is just a bunch of hogwash. You all know that, and I know that LeBron is going to be in them meetings no matter what. So as far as that, the Lakers, they haven't made a decision on who they going to hire, but JJ Redick is the leading candidate. They gonna bring in JJ Redick for another meeting, they say. And hopefully he gets the job. But if he gets the job, you know that's just gonna be nothing but pure promoting. Cause Mind the Game, they Mind the Game podcast, they do it on a weekly basis every Wednesday. Then on top of that, he gonna be the head coach, and he gonna have to talk to them other players. And also, as far as him, he gonna get those plays off of the podcast that he draws up and use it for the Lakers. So basically, he's already showing us how he gonna run his plays if he gets the job. So after all of that, that's all I have on that. And as far as that's all I have on the reaction from the Western Conference Finals Game 1, Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight, and the head coaching search of the Los Angeles Lakers. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and content, and etc. And remember, one last thing. I always end it with this. Remember, the key is always on time.